So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal. Where'd you get the...
Objection!
Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence.
Hold it!
So let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown, then shot the victim. Hey, not a bad summary, pal. More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever. That was really more of a confirmation than a summary. But our defense attorney seems pleased enough with himself. Do these people ever miss a chance to mock me? Well, now that Mr. Wright's gotten that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony? I don't have time to gather the details before coming in here. This testimony might be my only source of information. I pay attention and read this letter carefully. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it. Oh, I disagree. The victim was indeed shot in the forehead, just as he had commanded. Could be a setup, but let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we should let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal. Fine, I can play this slow as well as I can play it fast. Honor the testimony, Detective Gumshoe. Just gonna over them again to see if there's anything I missed.
Objection!
The witness's statement is clearly faulty. No, it ain't.
Hold it!
And this letter was sent by the victim. There it is. Gotcha. You're mine this time, pal. Huh? I had the handwriting checked out, of course. It's the victim's no mistake. Ah, I see. Let's go on for the boys. I didn't lose. I was just ascertaining facts. So why am I so annoyed? But a letter ordering your own death? Things aren't what they used to be, I guess. I'm not sure this is exactly commonplace, even now, Your Honor. So anyway, guess I'll keep going while I'm ahead.
Objection!
Clearly not the contradiction of my brain cells.
Hold it!
But it might have been the clown's forehead issue. Okay, so he practiced first on the doll, then shot. He practiced in the middle of the hospital. Anyone could have come in at any moment. Yeah, but no one did come, did they, pal? Besides, it's what I would have done. Always look before you shoot, I say. Might I suggest we... This is getting us nowhere. Patience will get us sooner than you think. Very well, please continue with your testimony, Detective.
Hold it!
You mean this pistol? One. It's a funny looking gun, so there's no mistaking it. We compared the bullets taken from the victim's skull with a bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. So, you verified the murder weapon, in other words. You bet we did.
Hold it!
Why are you so certain? What by the sound that your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You ever heard of Zack and Valen's quick draw shoot 'em? Huh? What's that? One of the defendant's specialties. Holy shit, that does look like her. Zack and Valent stand on either side of a gun. Then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on stage. This was one of the pistols used in the show. Got a great design, huh? Kids love it. Many boys and girls should love these because of that pistol. You know, that explains a lot about this. Philip Granby stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held on to that pistol ever since. The court would like... The court would like to see the pistol in question. It looks so much bigger in real life than on TV. Yeah, but it can only hold one round. So were any fingerprints found on the gun? Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say that the lack of fingerprints is, in fact, a fingerprint of its own. Aha! Intriguing point, well made. Whoa. Not well made, not intriguing. In any case, the court accepts this evidence. My grandchild would get a kick out of seeing this. But now it's time to return to our testimony.
Objection!
The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed a bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand? Yeah, but like I said, pal, they shot the clown in the forehead. He went and...
Objection!
did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not. The murder weapon? How? It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds one bullet at a time. Ah. If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim too.
Objection!
That's not a contradiction, not even close. All he had to do was reload the pistol after.
Objection!
Oh, when he get an extra bullet. They're not so easy to come by, you know. They claim the defendant had one ready, then prove to us how he got it. I had a feeling this was it. No, this party's just getting started. I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales. And utter lack of humility. What's this? Seems that the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, the detective was just a warm-up. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready. Ready for what? For my decisive witness. A witness who will find can prove one thing. That it was Zack Granby who shot the victim in the forehead. Very well, we will pause for 15-minute recess. This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zack. Court is adjourned. April 19, 11:21 AM. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Very impressive, Mr. Rad, I have to say. I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you'd believe me if I told you. But you discovered the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You're scared. Speaking of which, where is she? You have seen the problem yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead. One, right? He asked the reason he speaks of. Could not deny my Mano's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. This is a cross we must bear alone. We? You wanted to know about Night of the incident? Finally, this guy sure likes to take his time getting the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my Mano. Stuck in his room that night at the appointed time. Found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. 2? Yes, the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner, Valen. Oh, for the Zack and Valen's quick draw thing. My Mano had looked for one asleep, stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. And I took the pistol in my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then, for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So, there were other requests you couldn't refuse before. To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I've hit a pain upon choosing. Was Magnifi coercing his disciples somehow? Just what was going on in the Troop of Emery? Yet in the end I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you'll find it to be different than the one in my Mano. No, what were those called? Rifling marks. Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? You're a fascinating man, Mr. Wright. Thanks? Yes, there's something. My Mano, his eyes open. What? Magnifi Gramarye? The old devil, he was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as Mano and pupil. Not a long discussion. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Mr. Wright, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zack Gramarye, he seems pretty steadfast to me. Or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I'm in your hands. Right, let's get back in now. Alexa, lamp on. Court is now back in session. During arrests, a bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head. Well, this is news. There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, but I did find the weapon type matches the murder. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness. You're a decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? But they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Holy shit, he's got a bloated ego. And again, he doesn't have... Then again, I guess he has more freedom since he doesn't have... The fuck? Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this... Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he's intimately acquainted with the players in our little stuff. So, we get to meet the great Magnifi's other disciple. With our beard. Valant Gramarye! Magician! And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student, your partner's guilt. Fate took an illusion filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. You're a witness? Does that mean you were there that late? What am I to do this logically? The conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait, that's the same letter that Grammy received. Yeah, so perhaps I should say to that. Yeah. Order, order, order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. Why, it's practically the same! The court accepts this into evidence. This is most unusual. Exactly what's going on with you folks? What exactly was your troop Grammy up to? By which you mean... Just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. $11:05, $11:20. Both of them, no less. Both of them, no less. It's just my opinion, Hatchet. But from these letters, I'd say he's coercing them, not asking them. We walked in the magician's path together, and in doing so, shared much of our lives. When people so close to the stray, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. My voice has just changed for him. By which you mean you're not going to tell? By which you mean you're not going to tell us? Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they can't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zach Grammy, stands accused. Tell us why. I'll do more than that. For where he works, the Red Roses by singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yes, and now it is time to get this party fired up. That night, within the hospital room at the time McNiffy requested, the smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. Shut the fuck up, I know what I'm saying. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss gave it to the clown. I informed the doctor and the police. Oh yeah. So you were the one who reported the crime. Indeed, I would think this fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusions in this court. But if your testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zach Grammy, is guilty. And if it wasn't Zach Grammy, then the killer was you, Valent. I know disappearing act will get you out of that. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m. Indeed. In magic, timing is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double is left, how would that look? Why, you'd reveal the very secrets of my magic. Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went at the designated time, and what did you see?
Hold it!
So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby? I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. Really? Isn't magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. No, you are the one imagining. It's forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine from... Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does, so my partner, he did not refuse. But Magnifi wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zack couldn't? But I have a will of steel, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't all that strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? Here to deal with it. There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zack has said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. I better dig around here a bit more and see what I can turn up. Mr. Valen, let me ask you about something else concerning the crime scene. Namely... how many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valen quick-draw shooter, correct? 1 for each of you. You're well informed, yes. Only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting a man. Zack entered his room that night at the appointed time, and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. Took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene, after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam, Alakazing, Alakaboom. Is the number of pistols very so important? Yes. Number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. Very well, please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Okay.
Objection!
Top tier dumbass moment.
Objection!
According to the defendant, Zack Grammy, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table. 2? One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead, then he left with it in his pocket. Of course, this is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Valent told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Valent. The call-out prosecutor Gavin told us. He compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with a bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead. Order! 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 Well, this is all rather sudden.
Objection!
What have I done? Prosecutor Gavin? I owe this court an apology. Sorry for what? You see, I wasn't aware that tool pistols attractive. The analysis of the rifle marks only proved the type of gun that...
Objection!
But that's not what you told us before. You said you'd verified the murder weapon. Which is why I'm apologizing to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth? Yes? What do you think a criminal record is? That was just this morning. I'm still young. And, I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took one pistol from seeing the crime, we would not be having this pleasant discussion. Valens Grumby? Yes, Your Honor. You're presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive.
Objection!
You'll see in time. The testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts. The proof comes next. Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Valent entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove, how right the real fight is about to begin. Bring it. Very well, the witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what. Allegro. I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. Going in the room at that time was my partner, not me. Those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi, it's easy to explain the situation, Herr Judge. For example, take our debut hit single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. The debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. What a rip-off. Magic is a world ever towards precision. Hocus Pocus requires admirable focus. Focus. Got a bit too into voice. And in the time of death, determined by the doctor, there is an incontrovertible proof. Very well, the prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise of times, and we can expect cross-examination to require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. Carry on. Right.
Objection!
falsified evidence, so at that point, eh?
Objection! Objection!
Contradicts my 2 brain cells.
Hold it!
The time indicated by this letter. Twins Weekes could not have entered that room before 11:15, because his partner was still in the middle of the crime. The only problem I see here is a glaring contradiction in that testimony. Was that a question? I guess it was. You have been warned, Hellknight. Baseless remarks will be penalized. Well put, Prosecutor Gavin. Oh, Mr. Wright, here's my answer to your question. Really? Here's my answer to your question, Judge.
Hold it! Hold it!
Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death? Why, yes, I believe he screamed, "My God, he's been shot in the head." Doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I fully would have screamed the same thing. I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at that horrid sight. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned investigation? In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. Still waiting for one of those right ones to happen.
Hold it!
I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually only get an estimated time of death true. I'm not sure I've heard of a verified time of death. Magic revels making the complex appear simple, but reality is the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction. I see no person has done their arithmetic homework. The point here is, the IV the victim was taken. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim, Magnific Ram's sticker. Every night at 11, Magnific took an IV drip for 13 minutes. I can see the IV bag right there, yes? Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end. Ah, the needle's been removed. Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot. That would seem to be the case. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drifts. You could just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as a hourglass. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. With the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration had begun. And so it was, when I, Valent, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. And this is proof. Well, Mr. Knight. Did not seem important. I don't see any problem with that testimony. You say so. Let's continue, shall we?
Hold it!
You entered that hospital room at 11:20 p.m. The time given by the defendants at Grammy was 11:05 p.m. You didn't run into him at the hospital. This is why I never perform with amateurs, you see. Picture, if you will, the nighttime hospital. Outside, only the pale light of the moon. Two dressed as we were to meet in such circumstances, I dare say that would ruin the mood completely. The mood isn't in question. I believe the witness is saying he didn't meet you. What is magic if not a study of beauty? Us meeting was not only out of the question, it was an impossibility. What is magic if not a study of how to make absolutely no sense at all? That said, was there a contradiction in there? The only problem I see here is the glaring contradiction in that testimony. Was that a question? Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. Very well, the witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. Okay.
Objection!
Nope.
Objection! Objection!
Nope. Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me, next to the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did I spy arose, drooping and wilted. It's fallen to the scar of the IV needle. Knocked from the vein, but it wasn't a shot, and luckily for you. That IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky colour. Your lucky colour? Indeed, even today I wear it proudly upon my suspect self. For it always, without fail, brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valent won their first Magicians Grand Prix, yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians, it dawned in this attire. That was. This is one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky colour, yes indeed, and that IV too. I say, I think 'twas hued especially for me, Valent. That does seem to be the case indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony? Valent sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky colour test? There's a contradiction. Certainly sounds like your lucky colours brought you plenty of luck. And this time, Mr. Valent, your lucky colours betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honour, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence. What? Please recall my warning at the beginning of this cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalised. Don't worry, I've got all your bases right here. Very well, let's hear the defence's claim. Damn it, falls on to something now. The crime scene tells all, Your Honour. The photo of the crime scene? All this talk of colour has me yearning for black and white, clear contrast. Tell us, Wright, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you, it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. Valent Grammy, let's get one thing straight about your lucky colour. It's yellow, yes? Kinda takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. What's this? Confusion, doubt, tell us, what do your outly eyes spy? Even my outly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valent. Look at that IV bag. Ah! What is this? What foul magic? Yeah. It'd be hard to call the IV liquid yellow, and I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph. Order! 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 What does this mean?
Objection!
This is some kind of mistake. Yes, Prosecutor Gavin, your witness's mistake. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valent Grammy, as you reminded us several times, your lucky colour is yellow, where the IV is clearly not. Well, how do you know? This contradiction can mean only one thing. And to think, you almost had me. I see your true colours now. Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree at a glance the IV liquid does appear sort of greenish yellow, but I assure you the liquid itself is quite yellow. Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell in this photo, it's green. Yes, but what colour is the IV bag itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook? Looks like I want to say light blue? Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put the yellow liquid in a blue bag and you get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color. I see! Your explanation does have a ring of truth to it.
Objection!
As I thought, there's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale, but you've just proven something rather grave, for you, that is. Grave? The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes? But how did this witness know that? Quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow? Alakazung! Order! 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 Mr. Wright, you'll explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid. I'm sure it means something, but what? I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valence Gaffney, has testified that the IV liquid was yellow because he'd seen it before. From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he'd seen it before. But not inside the blue bag we've seen before. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colourless bag. Suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear as to what all this means. Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning.
Objection!
I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid? Leave getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans, yeah?
Objection!
The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin. I remember it well. However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag. Wait, I know! An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. I'm right, right? As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Unlike the sands through an hourglass, IV liquid enters the patient's body, at which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. Let me get this straight. All right. You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow. No, wait. I said wait. How might an amateur such as myself essay to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup.
Objection!
I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat? He has a point, amateurs. You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that IV. Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth? The syringe. Valen Grammy. Afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting? Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was... the victim's syringe? It's a perfect prop for the magically increasing IV drip. And easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? This syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin drops. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Valent Grammy, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes a perfect clock. One that you could manipulate at will. What can be said? It takes a lot to get the job done. I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that's why there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag. The time of death cannot be proven, and that brings our trial to a close for today. Well, maybe we can squeeze an extra day out of this. Do a little much needed investigation work. Let's see them.
Objection!
Yep, there is. Truly, there's no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise: underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet from out from under you in a way you'll never ever expect. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking. What's he talking about? You say the witness used a syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid, but there is no proof. There's no proof he didn't do it either. Yes, quite true. Huh? Is it man? Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. Yes, I admit. After all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much? You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin? Proof, urgent. I have another way to prove my case. We have evidence, no less. Oh shit, this is where it comes in. What's this? This is the victim Magnificram's diary. Diary? After going into the hospital, Magnifi began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his starting debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end quite appropriately for his death. Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request? Sadly, it doesn't. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal, even after the IV had begun at 11 PM. Let's read it, shall we? This does appear to have been written just before his death. The court accepts this into evidence. Read the very last part with particular care. This journal may end here, or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his, he refers to our defendant, Zachary Grammy. That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor after all. But look at what he said before. The journal may end here, or it may go on. It may go on. Magnificrammy intended to write again. That is, if Zach Grammy didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on, it ends. Because Magnifi's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Zach Grammy. Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin! Are you certain that Magnificrammy wrote this? There is no mistaking his handwriting. Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnifi did indeed intend to continue his diary. Huh? What's this? Looks like a page was ripped out. Well now, isn't that interesting? Yet if his diary ended here, which plainly it did, then the one who pulled the trigger was the first victim, Zach Grammy. Well, how do you like me now, Herr Wright? Still too green for your taste? He's right about the diary being fake clear. Still, I find hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with his precious evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking, but put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case. The diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show him something. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence. What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary? It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment. Very well, please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright. Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown the court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Just evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary. Alright, I'd be happy to. There's a signs of evidence proving that the diary didn't end with this page is... First, take a close look at this diary. Note that page has clearly been ripped out. What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all. That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page. Because I don't believe it. Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnificent. That's a defensive position. Wait, let me see that. What in some hell? Like, this is the continuation of the victim's diary. Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page of Magnifi's diary. Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, Herr Attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zach Grammy left, leaving no one to take his life but the second victim, Valent Grammary. No! The handwriting too matches that on the other pages. This is, without a doubt, the genuine article. Order! 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 But wait! That's impossible! That old man couldn't have written that. Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, Herr Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Herr Judge? Yes, Prosecutor Gavin? Might I request we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness. But Prosecutor Gavin! This evidence overturns the witnesses. I ask only to put it on hold. Please, my new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes, no more. I promise, Your Honor. Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this? Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway, so might as well be sooner. Then though this is highly, highly irregular, we'll put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprise witness to the courtroom. I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped out page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known there was a bad sign all around. Holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin. I beg the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with this witness to secure his testimony. A judiciary deal? The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain the information to this room. Very well. And you're a witness, I gather? Yes, sir. State your name and occupation for the record. My name is Drew Misham. I'm a painter. painter, and you're somehow related to this case? No, well, not per se. I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is? Oh, yeah, I know it well. How's that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before? Oh, yeah, I mean, I made it. You... what? You made it? Yes, you might call it one of my works. The prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Grumley. Illegal evidence? We initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world that they're making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries. Forgeries? Well, so we are to understand that this page here is perfect. Prepared by a certain defense.
Objection!
Hold it. I didn't prepare this evidence.
Objection!
The attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume? But what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright. Witness! Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client? That, I don't know. What? Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items they want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact.
Objection!
But there's no proof this is a fake. It's a fake. Huh? To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. Hence why you couldn't turn it. I can say, without a doubt, this is mine. Mr. Wright, you have just presented legal evidence to this court, my court. It was careless of me. That's what I can say. What's this? It was all a trap, a fatal trap. Mr. Wright? Yes? Do you have an explanation for yourself? If I did, would the court hear it? Probably not. You're not Von Karma, so you won't get away with it. You're not Edgeworth. You're not any other prosecutors who have given false evidence. So fuck you. You're a lawyer. Forging evidence is a serious crime. And presenting it in court is a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney. Fatal, too, perhaps for your client, I fear? Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty.
Objection!
Your Honor, wait. I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime, but you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual. I am sorry, Mr. Wright. Your Honor, another close call, I guess. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? I even gave you a chance. So bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself. I see no need for further discussion on this matter. Special witness dismissed. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Attorney? Yes? Could I ask your name? Phoenix Wright. Mr. Wright, I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I remember you, Mr. Wright. I apologize. I didn't mean to give you the false evidence. I was just tipped off with about 10 mil for it. I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way. The trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must... Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Zack? There's one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible. I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you. Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant doesn't exist? Doesn't exist? Oh, wait. I'm talking about this. Mr. Enigma! The defendant's escaped. Find him, quick! Bailiff, close all exits from the building. Under double, he must not be allowed to escape. In that day, in that courtroom, the defendant, Shady Enigma, aka Zack Granby, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day. This is the Granby miracle. No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zack Granby vanished, along with him, for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however. But not until 7 years later. If that's the case, I'm surprised they didn't try and set Nick up for Misham's murder. The Mason system.